January 2012. Silk Road is flourishing, its reach expanding with every new user, but with growth comes risk. Ross Ulbricht has expanded his team and handed off some of his duties to a recently hired group of employees. At the same time, however, the government's investigation is intensifying. Homeland Security and the DEA is closing in on Silk Road sellers and administrators, using undercover agents to try and gain access to the marketplace's inner workings. Their goal? To find someone within Ross's network willing to flip. But finding someone who will betray Silk Road isn't easy. Anonymity runs deep and trust is everything. Can the feds infiltrate this hidden empire and start to unravel the secrets behind the world's most illegal website? It turns out they can. Curtis Clark Green, a former paramedic and semi-professional poker player, was deeply embedded in the world of pharmaceuticals, particularly opioids. He was known for his knowledge of the pain-relieving drugs. A seasoned poker player, Green frequented online poker sites and even entered in the 2010 World Series of Poker. Green had a history of moving between different careers, including a stint in the movie industry, running a transportation service, and managing a cell phone chain. Green had some secrets, though. He was active on Silk Road. If he was just a seller, he would be like the hundreds of other sellers on the website. The thing is, he wasn't just a seller. He wasn't just an employee of Silk Road either. He was a former administrator. January 3rd, 2012. Homeland Security agent Gregory Miller opens an investigation into Silk Road. As of December 29th, Homeland Security's confidential source was already telling them details about the Silk Road website. January 13th, 2012. The government's investigation is heating up. Homeland Security Chicago has over 19 reports, 200 seized packages, and has identified multiple vendors and targets. Multiple Homeland Security offices work together to coordinate a point of entry for the contraband coming from Silk Road. They've met with the Associate U.S. Attorney's Office to help prosecute the case. January 18th, 2012. Jacob George, known as Digital Inc., is arrested in Baltimore. In his criminal complaint, the government notes that Silk Road has served as an online, international marketplace for users to buy and sell controlled substances, false identifications, and other contraband over the internet. The anonymous nature of Silk Road is mentioned here. The government states that Silk Road protected the anonymity of its users by using the Tor network. A Tor user's internet traffic is routed to conceal the user's location and internet usage. They continued, Silk Road required all transactions to be conducted in Bitcoin. Bitcoin was used because it is difficult to track and easy to move online. Digital Inc. was a vendor, yes, but he wasn't a member of Ross's inner circle. The government would have to keep looking. March 27, 2012. The Silk Road case was transferred from Special Agent Diryag Hayan to Special Agent McFarland. This is because McFarland is a certified undercover agent. McFarland opens a case and initiates surveillance on multiple targets connected to the account taken over from Digital Inc. McFarland also forms an unofficial task force with the DEA, postal inspectors, the IRS, and the Secret Service. The government's investigation is expanding. With a certified undercover agent on the case and multiple flipped Silk Road sellers, the next step is to make contact with Ross, now going by the name Dread Pirate Roberts, or DPR for short. April 2012. Undercover DEA agent Carl Force from the Baltimore Task Force starts communicating with Ross using the Silk Road account Knob. April 2012. Homeland Security develops a new undercover informant and informs the Baltimore Task Force. May 11, 2012. A forum post on Silk Road mentions the current moderators. They are Digital Alk, Chronic Pain, Nomad Bloodbath, Limitless, and Squid Shepherd. July 12, 2012. The user Scout registers an account on the forums. Throughout the next few months, several users register accounts on the forums, including Inigo and Lucy Drop, who would later be implicated in scamming a large amount of users and demanding payment from Ross. That's for another video, though. The site is growing and expanding so much during this time, Ross decides to create a new position. November 2012. The new role is created. November 3rd, 2012. The account Flush is registered. Flush will be responsible for responding to questions and complaints from buyers and sellers, resolving disputes, and investigating law enforcement activity on the site. December 7, 2012. The undercover agent in contact with Ross complains how Silk Road buyers only want small amounts. He says it isn't worth it for him to sell an order below 10 kilograms. December 7, 2012. Ross mandates the employee, Flush, solicit top sellers on Silk Road who could move the large amount of drugs the undercover agent is offering to sell. December 8, 2012. Ross messages the undercover agent, "Hey, I think we have a buyer for you. One of my staff is sending the details." December 9, 2012. The employee contacts the undercover agent using the Silk Road support account. He mentions he found a buyer who could purchase substantial quantities from the agent. As a bonus, the buyer is already a big seller on the forums. December 17, 2012. The Silk Road buyer negotiates with the undercover agent. The price? $27,000. The goods? 1 kilogram of cocaine. January 10, 2013. The Silk Road buyer provides the undercover with the shipping address to send the product to. The undercover agent messages Ross that he won't deliver through the postal service, but he is, quote, sending my goons instead. January 17, 2013. Acting as couriers, federal agents deliver 1 kilogram of cocaine to the address. Upon receipt of the goods, the buyer sends the agents $27,000 worth of Bitcoin. January 17, 2013. Curtis Clark Green, also known as Flush and Chronic Pain, is arrested for cocaine possession. He turns over his Silk Road administrator account to the Baltimore Task Force and authorizes them to use his account and assume his identity. Agent Carl Forrest then logs into the Flush account and changes the password. After over a year of investigation, creating informants, and making arrests, the government's case took a drastic turn. They had found a way into Silk Road's inner circle. With the arrest of Curtis Green, the government finally had access to an administrator account on the forum. What information could they use Green's cooperation to get, though? How could they use this massive advantage to find the Dread Pirate? Would he be tipped off to Green's arrest and cooperation? It remains to be seen. One thing is for sure, though. The government was getting much closer to finding the Dread Pirate.